guys, this game is all about what we do. It's all about us, just like it's been all year long. All right, so you've got to focus and not get the external factors have any factor on how you focus in this game. You want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, which is discipline to execute and do your job, play with relentless effort and toughness for 60 minutes in the game, no matter what the circumstance in the game is, and an intensity that they can't match. Now, you guys talk about respect all the time. All right, Kirby says we ain't what we used to be. Well, by God, I want to prove something different. I don't want to see a smile on that face after the game. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game. It's our time. And there's a bunch of guys trying to take it from us. So that makes this shit personal. So let's don't be denied what we want. Let's go. Relentless effort for 60 minutes. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
Greetings and good evening. Welcome to the Roundtable, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, December the 30th, 2025. Bon, welcome, I am Drew, and welcome to the last episode of the Roundtable in the year of 2025. We are a mere short 28 hours away from bringing in 2026, and I pray that you and your loved ones are in a safe environment first and foremost, and we'll bring in 2026 in a manner that sets you all up for continued success, continued health, continued safety. But before all that, we got a lot of football to talk about. There were some big games this past week in the National Football League. When I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing in the sports world that compares to December football, both in the NCAA and in the NFL, because the gravity of each one of these games is heightened. The teams that are playing are most likely playoff competitors, and they're most likely playing for jockeying position and or their playoff life and or their number one seed. And there is nothing like cold weather football outside. Not according to Griff, but hey, we're going to work on that. And we have the college football playoff quarterfinals 24 hours away, where the first game between the Miami Hurricanes and the defending national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, is merely 24 hours away. And we're going to hit that and each one of these games up and complete what an exciting week 17 it was in the National Football League. So a hearty shout out to everyone in the Roundtable family. Thank you for joining us on this glorious Tuesday night. Looking forward to the dialogue, looking forward to the discussion. So let us get into it. Griff, how are we doing on this chipper, chilly Tuesday night? What's going on, Mike?
Hey man, doing fine, man. As you can see, I'm back in Texas, back at my spot, man. Doing fine. Grandbaby was here waiting on me when I got here. And hey, you know, I had a big smile on my face and just looking to talk about this weekend of football, man. It was exciting this weekend.
Yes, sir. It was an exciting weekend of football. There were some surprises with some teams across the NFL that you would not have expected the result that we got. But that is why we are here on this Tuesday to discuss. So let us get into it, man. If y'all remember way back when, last Thursday on Christmas, there were 3 football games that when the schedulers put these 3 games together, they thought it was going to have some serious playoff implications. Well, those games did not, but they were entertaining for Christmas. The real football began on Saturday with this game right here, where you had a 10-5 Houston Texans team taking on an 11-4 Los Angeles Chargers team. Both of these two teams still have aspirations of winning their division title, at least going into this game they did. Both of these two teams are playoff teams in 2025. Both of these two teams have teams that are quite possibly good enough to win the National Football League Super Bowl in 2025. Griff, we talked about this game on Friday and what needed to be done from both the Houston offensive side and the Los Angeles Charger defensive side to ensure that each one of these two teams had the best chances to walk out of there with that dub. I believe that the number one defense from the Houston Texans was going to create a turnover or two, or a special teams play was going to be a difference maker in how this game turned out. And special teams did come into play. Missed field goals, missed extra points do eventually come back to bite you in the gluteus. And I believe that missed extra point was a huge factor in what Jim Harbaugh did in the final half of that fourth quarter pertaining to the approach that he took, whether or not they could take chances. What you saw on Saturday, even with the limited success that we see from the Houston Texans offense, we know that this defense can win a Super Bowl or can lead Houston to the Super Bowl because we know defense wins championships. But can Houston win an NFC or NFL Super Bowl and or come back and sneakily win the AFC South? How surprised are you with C or how confident are you in CJ now that you've seen them go on this hot streak and they haven't beaten scrub teams? They've beaten quality teams in this 8-0 run that they've been on. They've beaten playoff teams. They lost once. And that was to the Los Angeles Rams, if I'm not mistaken. And that was on or Denver Broncos, and that was on a last second field goal. They beat the 49ers already. They've beaten the Chargers. They've beaten the Bills. They've beaten all of the teams that are in the. Are you confident in the Houston Texans and what D'Amico Ryan is selling down there in H-Town? Michael Sanders is.
I know Mike is. That's his squad, man, and I don't want to take anything from they win this weekend. Like I said, that defense is awesome. Your question was about CJ, and for me, I still don't see it with CJ, man. CJ and that offense with Mike. If it come down to it, um, as they get into the playoffs and even possibly the Super Bowl, I think the Achilles heel for the Texans is going to be the offense because there's going to come a time where the defense ain't going to be able to come through for them. The defense was able to come through for them this weekend, but look at they third down efficiency. Man, they was 3 for 11 on third down, man. 3 for 11. The running game is still not there. I mean, who did we throw the ball to? The Chargers had a good defense. But the Texans just had a better defense. They got to Herbert 5 times, man. So as far as them making it to the playoffs, yes, congratulations. But I still don't think they'll make a deep run, man.
Congratulations. You don't believe they'll make a deep run? All right, well, let me go ahead and pose this argument for the Houston Texans real quick, right? I mentioned a few minutes ago the teams that they've played over the past 2 calendar months, the teams that they've beaten over the past 2 calendar months. Again, I will say again, the San Francisco 49ers, dub. The the Los Angeles Chargers, dub. The Buffalo Bills, dub. Denver Broncos, last second field goal to get that L. So Houston has proven that they can travel. One, we know defenses always travel. Two, and you're going to need a top 10 defense to win the Super Bowl in 2025. Why? Because there is no offense that is jumping off of the stat sheet. There is no offense that is head and shoulders above everybody else in the National Football League. And what we have seen from these 14 teams, 15 or 16 teams that are still viable for a playoff position is that none of them can constantly show up every single Sunday and you can trust that they're going to get that dub. We thought a lot of teams this weekend that are playoff caliber teams were going to make statements this weekend. No, they got a statement made on them by teams that aren't even thinking about the playoffs. You talk about parity across the league. Bruh, Houston can most definitely, one, have a deep run. Two, make it to the AFC title, win the AFC title game, make it to the Super Bowl, and hoist that trophy at the end of the night at the Super Bowl in San Francisco. They've shown you over the past 2 months. You don't have to have the confidence. You're right. At some point, the defense is going to come up short, but the offense is doing what it needs to be done or
Well,
what needs to be
you
done to
still
get the
believe in
ball
Santa
over.
Claus too, though. You still believe in Santa Claus too, don't
Man, hey, when I'm getting a dub every week, I gotta believe.
you? I'm telling you.
Until I take that L, I'm going to continue to believe. And what CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans and even the backup quarterback, when he was in there, have done over this past 2+ months is that they've shown the rest of the NFL that we're not only one of the hottest teams, but we are in fact the hottest team, and we can go into your stadium and win. Watch out for those Texans, man. They just
Okay.
might be in Santa Clara in February representing the AFC. All right, bruh, bruh, bruh. When we last spoke about this game on Friday night, neither one of us had any confidence in the Baltimore Ravens because they've shown us throughout the entire season that they cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted to put the correct lineup on the field. They cannot be trusted to protect the ball. They definitely cannot be trusted to call a proper game or have a game plan in place that will put them in the best position to win. Well, with Lamar Jackson being out and Jordan Love being out, we knew this game was going to be a game of backups, and both teams were going to rely heavily on their run game. And for the first time in the entire season, the Baltimore Ravens decided to give their star running back the ball at least 30 times. And Derrick Henry did what most of us, with a little bit of common sense and the ability to see football and formulate an assessment, did what we expected him to do, which was run up and down the field all over a Green Bay Packer defense or run defense that has gaps, that has injuries, that is not the top of the tier. We're going to talk about what this game means for Baltimore at the later on in the show with the game between them and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But did the pressure of every sports talk show, I'm pretty sure the local radio stations in Baltimore, the fans in Baltimore, finally get to John Harbaugh and Todd Monken to ensure that the game plan is run first, run second, run third, and run, 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 no matter who the quarterback is.
Look, man, I think I said on Friday, in order for them to win, Derrick Henry got to touch the ball at least 25 times. I mean, if my memory served me correctly. Well, maybe he maybe got the footage from our show last week and say, okay, Griff said 25, we're gonna give it to him 36.
Mhm.
And the rest is history. Like you said, the king showed why he the king. This is what I will say, because I think Troy asked this question earlier as far as is Huntley the answer now? I mean, go back and look at the numbers. Huntley didn't. I mean, because they won the game, because he handed the ball off to King Henry. Yeah, he made a couple of passes here and there, but I think he only had like 107 yards. This was the King Henry show, and it should have been the King Henry show all season. We wouldn't even be having this conversation right now if they just would have been doing this all year. They wouldn't even be in the situation that they in right now. But yeah, man. As far as the scope, I was shocked. I can tell you what, I like Malik Willis though. Somebody gonna be looking to get steal Malik Willis from Green Bay. That kid
Well,
look good.
both Malik Willis and Tyler Huntley, Snoop Huntley, are quality backup quarterbacks. They should have the opportunity in 2026 to compete for a starting job. They have not yet proven at any point in their young NFL career that they are dependable long-term starting quarterback material. They just haven't had that chance because of where they have ended up, right? With Huntley backing up Lamar and Willis bouncing around, being with Tennessee last year and then ended up in Green Bay. recency bias is something that football fans fall victim to all the time. No, Huntley is not the answer. No, Malik Willis is not the answer for either one of these two teams. They have $55 million quarterbacks for a reason. All right. Lamar Jackson is the guy in Baltimore. Jordan Love is the guy in Green Bay. Whether or not both of these quarterbacks are available this upcoming weekend based on who they got against their team, we'll have that discussion later. But yeah, let's dismiss the theory that, hey, we can just plug and play with this backup quarterback and we can accomplish the same thing. No, it don't work that way. Like Grish said, this was the King Henry game, and it should have been again King Henry game plan all year. And we'll talk about Todd Monken and his job security and John Harbaugh's job security a little later. But I'm surprised that Baltimore won this game. It does support my theory, even though Green Bay is hanging on by a thread at this point, that they might even miss the daggone playoffs. I think they're secure into that seventh position, or they not win or lose their next game. But they are definitely not Super Bowl contenders from the NFC. They could go into whatever division champs stadium and lay an egg in the wild card. I cannot depend on the Green Bay Packers anymore. Baltimore, still, you don't know what you're going to get. There is so much apprehension about this Baltimore Pittsburgh game this weekend. On paper, yeah, Baltimore would be favored, even though they're playing in Pittsburgh. But we'll talk about that a little later. Another exciting game, and this was the game I was most excited to see on Sunday Night Football between the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. Both of these two teams came into this game 11-4. Both of these two teams had the opportunity to still be in the running for the overall number one seed in the National Football Conference based on how they came out of this game. I was looking for a game where it was going to be somewhat of a track meet where both teams were having a lot of offensive success, and that's exactly what happened. Man, this was the game of the weekend as pertains to excitement for me. We had a lot of other close finishes, but these nail biters, Griff, these last second game on the line, fourth and whatever, where it's happening every single weekend. Are you surprised more at how these games are finishing and not necessarily how these two teams played each other this weekend, but across the league, every weekend you have at least 2 or 3 games where it is a last second field goal kick or a last second pass for a touchdown or a last second 2-point conversion, where every single one of the big games are coming down to nail biting situations. And
Man,
then we'll this game.
I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist or the league is scripted, man, but I mean this week,
Oh,
Drew, this weekend is one of them weekends that make you say it make you scratch your head and say, because this game came down to the last play of the game as well,
last
man.
play.
I would tell you, Brock Purdy played some of his best football I've seen him play since he been in this league last night, bro. Look, you know, again, it just goes to show it ain't how you start, but it's how you finish. When everybody talked about how he was the last guy picked, Brock Purdy, CMC, and I said it, I told you, stop Chicago Bears running game, which they basically did. They held them to 100 yards. But the 49ers had 200 yards rushing. And Brock was spitting. And Brock almost had 3. But I would have to say, man, I got to give credit what credit is due to, man. Caleb Williams kind of like surprised me in this game, man. You know, I always give him a hard time. But, I mean, he kept his team in this game and had them there all the way at the end with a possibly at least being able to win this game at the end. But the 49ers defense bent, but it didn't break. And like Troy said, it came down to coaching. Both of these coaches, man, should be top running as far as for coach of the year.
Yeah, both of them are being considered as the NFL Coach of the Year, and this was an exciting game. Harold, I disagree. I don't know if you were referring to this game being NFL politics, but it was not, at least in my opinion. Troy mentioned that even though that the Bears lost, they earned respect across the league. I mentioned it in the promo video that we created for this for tonight's episode that both the San Francisco 49ers and the Chicago Bears proved this weekend that they can go all the way to the finish line. They do have the team that can make it to the finish line, even with all of the injuries that they're dealing with. And there's talk about Fred Warner possibly coming back to the playoffs if everything works out well. And that would just be an added benefit for the San Francisco 49ers. And we'll talk about what's riding on the line for them this weekend against Seattle at home for the division and for the overall number one seed. We'll talk about that game a little later. But what this game did to me, or did for me, was that it boldly gave Caleb Williams the opportunity to continue to reintroduce himself, because that is what he is doing every weekend at this point, reintroducing himself to the nation and proving every weekend, at least in 2025, that he is to be taken seriously. The Chicago Bears are to be taken seriously. We still have some apprehension as to whether or not the Chicago Bears can be trusted 16 games in, 1 week left in the regular season. They just might be setting themselves up to be in the perfect situation where they could be seeing San Francisco again in the NFC title game, depending on how the standings play out based off of this weekend's results. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the better team won. I'm not going to sit here and say that Chicago gave this game away. Chicago did what they were supposed to do on defense, create turnovers. Those turnovers or that turnover created points, first play of the game. But as you mentioned, Brock Purdy played the best game of his season Sunday night. And it took that, along with those 200-plus yards rushing from the San Francisco offense, to knock the Chicago Bears back, because it was a punch for punch. You score a touchdown, I score a touchdown, all the way up to 35-35, and then the separation in the last couple of minutes. These two teams can win the Super Bowl. I am extremely confident. I'm even more confident in the Chicago Bears coming out of this game than I was going in. So we going to see Caleb and them a little bit down the road. Man, this next one, we kind of expected this to be a very tight game. We knew this was going to be a tight game. It did come down to the run game, because both of these two defenses, at least thus far this year, have not been extremely dependable. Well, it seems like the Philadelphia Eagles might be finding that defense once again now that Jalen Carter is back in the lineup, and he got a little bit of pep in his step, right? Because he was getting after Josh a little bit this weekend. I said it on Friday, the same formula that DeMeco Ryan and the Houston Texans defense took against Josh Allen several weeks ago was the same approach that the Fangio defense for the Philadelphia Eagles should take, and see if they could get that pressure on Josh Allen just with that 4 and 5 man front. And that's exactly what happened. That's how they shut down that powerful offense and kept Superman not being able to go into the phone booth and change from Clark Kent. So how surprised are you that, one, this was a low scoring game, and I believe you picked Philly in this one, did you not? And how confident do you believe that the Eagles can still defend their title?
I mean, it runs right back to what you were saying earlier about the Texans, man. This was a defensive game right here. The Eagles' defense bend, but it didn't break. In key times, they stepped up when they needed to step up, even to that, the last play. But they wasn't the Bills didn't even score until the fourth quarter. And so, as far as them going back in and defending their title, man, I mean, based off your logic, when you say defense win games, I see them going further than C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans do. And really, we can talk about the stat lines and people can talk about Jalen Hurts' numbers, but he always figure out a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say. When the team needs the most, he always figure out a way. We got us a co-host
We
How
got to
you
cover
doing,
all
young lady?
that for at least for the next 30, 45, 60 seconds or not. That's my grandbaby right there. All right, Carl visiting from Christmas as well. But this was a game with two halves, right? Where the Eagles dominated early, got those, went up 13 to nothing, right? We kept Buffalo scoreless until the fourth quarter, but the Eagles had all of 3 yards in the second half themselves.
It's
So Buffalo
awful.
was doing something right.
Yeah.
The 2 point conversion was a very makeable conversion. Josh just didn't complete the throw
Yes.
as he usually completes the throw. So it wasn't that the Eagles won this game. It was more, at least for me, it was more that the Buffalo Bills came up short and were not able to make those real quick in-game adjustments like Vangio does on defense. And the continued pressure that we got on Josh Allen, that's what's the difference maker. But
What I'm saying, but think about it. If you go back and look at this game and let's take that play away. The
mm-hmm.
Eagles had a couple of goal line stops as well as they had a block extra point.
Right.
So again, the defense bend, but it didn't break. And that was the difference in this game. Like I said, man, I'm looking at to be a starting quarterback in the league and you only got 108 yards passing, how you said no yards in the second half, that was wild.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm gonna go ahead and let Miss Carver go. You got anything you want to share with the round table audience before we go?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope Santa Claus brought you everything that you wanted.
Most deaf. No, man, you're absolutely right. As it pertains to the approach that the Philadelphia Eagles defense took that kept Josh Allen and that I won't say high powered offense because he didn't have that go-to receiver, even though Brandon Cooks has some phenomenal catches throughout at key moments in this game. There is not that key receiver that you can hang your hat on because Shakur may be healthy, but may be injured. Keon Coleman, I don't know what my young man is doing down there. He should be having more of a presence. And for Buffalo to be able to make a deep run into the playoffs, because everyone who now looks at Josh Allen as being the guy as it pertains to superstar quarterbacks remaining in the playoff hunt, not only expects but wants the Buffalo Bills to be right there in the end to give Josh Allen that opportunity to compete for his first ever Super Bowl title. But it's going to have to be earned on the field. Contrary to what Harold says, contrary to what Troy says, this is not going to be the NFL politics that we usually are fed. If the Buffalo Bills do make it to the Super Bowl, it'll be because Josh Allen has played phenomenally on the field as well as James Cook. But more to follow on that. Eagles, they can win their wild card game.
Hey, Troy said don't have him call them Diggs boys and to choke you out. To choke you out, man. Hey,
Hey.
let me ask Troy this question though, because Troy said them Cowboy fans be hating on Houston. Troy, my question to you: if you had to choose between C.J. Stroud and Jalen Hurts to carry your team the rest of the way, which one you choose? Put it in the comment. That's all I'm asking. I ain't trying to pit nobody, but he said my haters against Houston. I like Houston. You forget that D'Amico Ryan is from where I'm from. He's from Bessemer, Alabama, which is you can call that Birmingham. Played at the University. Love him.
That is a good question. Would I prefer Jalen Hurts or CJ Stroud based on how Philadelphia is comprised offensively or based on how Houston is comprised offensively? Jalen Hurts has far more weapons available to him than CJ Stroud has available to him.
He does.
So we can't sit here and say that CJ is not up to the task and Jalen is when Jalen got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon, his own legs. So come on, that's an unfair comparison. Give CJ Stroud his props.
I stand down.
All right. All right, man. This next one the writing was on the wall. We was just waiting for Teddy to warm up, go ahead and officially turn the lights off for the Indianapolis Colts. And it took a minute. But Trevor and those Duval County Jags finally woke up withstood the onslaught of the Phillip Rivers led offense and came back and won a tough division game in Indy and closed the door for the Indianapolis Colts and are one step closer to winning the division. Like I said, Houston is right there, so they have to win this upcoming weekend. In their closeout game against, I believe they play the Titans. I'm not sure, but it's a victory for Trevor and that offense and that rookie head coach that continues to impress, Griff. Can the Jaguars come out of the AFC?
I mean, again, man, the AFC is wide open. But hey, you talk about the Jaguars. You talking about the
The
Texans.
Jaguars.
About the Broncos. You talking, man. The AFC actually looked like the tougher conference, man, this year as far as play calling, and all these teams is peaking at the right time. I think the Jags, as you said, they started off a little slow. Sometimes you have a tendency to play to the level of the competition that you're playing against. Uh, Phillip Rivers, again, I give him a high five, but all they had to do is shut down Jonathan Taylor. Even though the Jags started off slow, they were still able to keep Jonathan Taylor in check, which that's what helped this team come on back in and do what they had to do, man. So uh, they could. I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I've been talking bad about Sunshine too, and
Hey,
I
Kevin
mean,
Garnett said anything is possible, baby. Kevin Garnett said anything is possible. Now you're absolutely right. The Jags do have what it takes. I'm liking the way that this offense is just gradually becoming better every single week, right? And just imagine if a healthy Travis Hunter was still on this team, how good they could possibly be going into these playoffs.
yeah,
The outlook for 2026 and beyond is great. Again, that the addition of that midseason trade,
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers, bruh, that is what has set this team apart. As long as ATN stays healthy, Thomas and Myers stay healthy, and a healthy Trevor Lawrence, they can compete with any team in the AFC. We've seen that they have the ability to travel as well into a hostile environment and put up good numbers against whoever they're playing against. We saw what they did against the number one seed in the AFC, the Denver Broncos, just last week at Mile High. The confidence that you get from winning these late season games for quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence, for quarterbacks like Caleb Williams, for quarterbacks like Bo Nix, does more for them individually than it does for the team collectively. And we're going to see the fruits of that labor in January because one of those young quarterbacks is going to send Lamar home if he makes it, is going to send Aaron Rodgers home if he makes it, is going to possibly send Josh Allen home in the playoffs. Look, we haven't even talked about the Patriots yet. Look for one of these young second year quarterbacks to be the superstar of the 2025 playoffs. And it just might be Goldilocks, who is not in his second year, but he's just showing up. Now, this one was a separation game, man. This upcoming game between the Seahawks and the Panthers. This game had the chance to not only confirm what the Panthers believed within the building, that they are a year ahead of schedule and whatever schedule that they're on as a team, but that they could possibly as an 7-loss team have a deep run in the playoffs because Seattle needed this game for a whole variety of reasons that we already mentioned. They needed for playoff positioning, for division title hopes, and for overall number one seeding. So we knew that Seattle was going to come into our building and give us their best punch. If we could withstand that punch and not only counter punch, but come out of this fight with a dub, that lets the entire NFL know that we are a team to be reckoned with. Well, it wasn't that case. They are not as good as people thought they were, but they still have the opportunity to make it to the playoffs. What statement did this make for you, for Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks offense because of how Carolina's defense has improved that provides you a little bit more confidence in what you've seen in Seattle over the past month?
I mean, I ain't never lost no faith in this offense. I mean, Sam Darnold had a couple of times where, okay, he started to look like the old Sam Darnold, but the offense has still been, for me, still been rocking. And they got number they still got Smith and Jig over there doing his thing, and with Kenny Walker and Charbonnet over there doing their thing. I'm good with this offense. I'm gonna tell you that daggone defense of the Seahawks is what's the truth though. I mean, Bryce Young and the Panthers are actually, if you ask me, I still think they're a year ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Other than a whole bunch of people expect. Matter of fact, most people we all really counted them out, to be honest, earlier in the season. Nobody even had any expectation that we'd even be talking about the Panthers at this point of the season, in the beginning of the season. So for me, they still a year ahead. But the whole quarterback in the NFL, the 40 yards passing in 4 quarters, man, what does that tell you about that daggone defense that them jokers got over there, man? I'm missing DeMarcus Lawrence right now because he up there balling out of control with Seattle right now.
Yeah,
So
no, man, you're right.
it's wild.
It is always about matchups, right? This is the same Bryce Young who put up 450 yards up against the Green Bay Packers defense with Micah Parsons several weeks ago. It's not like Bryce Young is not a worthy starting
Yeah.
quarterback. It's having the right game plan with the right scheme and being able to imprint what you are trying to do on that opposing team. And Seattle did that, and they did it in dominating fashion. Now, this was a low-scoring game for the first 2-3 quarters where it was back and forth, but that's why you play at 60 minutes or 60-plus minutes when warranted. The better team should win, and that's exactly what happened. Now, what this does for the Carolina Panthers, it opens the door for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to sneak in and win the division, even after they've completely fallen off the cliff the second half of their regular season in 2025. And we'll talk about that game a little later, but I'm still confident, if I am the Carolina Panthers, that we have what it takes to have an impact in the playoffs this year. And I got it. I agree with you that they are even possibly 2 years ahead of whatever internal clock that you want realistically to have as a measure of success for your team. But Seattle needed this dub, obviously, because of the impact of the game between them and San Francisco this upcoming Saturday. They want to have that number one seed because the number one seed is absolutely critical. You get a week off. Everybody else got to play.
Yeah.
And a week off in January, heading into the playoffs, every NFL player wants that after confirming that their team has made it. So kudos to the Seahawks. You're right, Sam Darnold in that offense is up there.
You see what Troy did to me, man. He put me on the spot, man. Now he making me choose between the two Alabama boys, man. And he said, now, based off what I did with CJ, would I choose between Bryce and Jalen? Look, I already conceded that CJ is actually a better baller. Drew made me shut up on that one as far as playing.
Yeah, this is not even a debate, to be honest.
I know what he getting at, man. When I see Bryce and Jalen, it's almost like I remember when Tua replaced Jalen. I love me some Jalen Hurts, though, man. He ain't going to get me to go against him. But like you said, he got all that talent up there, and he can't get the ball to him. I know if Bryce had that same talent, just like if CJ had that same talent, we'll be having different conversations. So
you know who got a lot of talent, Griff? The Los Angeles Rams. And when the Los Angeles Rams take the field, we're all pretty confident that offense talent is going to show up and show out, especially against our favorite team to talk about. The third quarter, the 3.5, the Atlanta Falcons who usually show up to the game and give you their best effort.
Oh,
Raheem
man.
Morris says, we're going to give you everything we got for 45, 46, 47 minutes. And then we usually fold our tents in and say, all right, we're going to be back in the locker room. Y'all let us know when the clock strikes 0 and give the game away.
Right.
Bruh.
I thought we was there. I thought we was there.
Bruh. What happened?
I thought we was there.
I'm disappointed.
Man, 21. I mean, they had them 21 nothing. I say, yep. Don't y'all Falcons, don't y'all get excited, Falcons fans now. And what happened? You know what? Stafford them came back out there and they almost did it.
Man.
They almost did it, man. That damn Puka Nakua is the truth. But I would tell you, I don't want to take no shine from Bijan. Hey, Bijan is the truth, brother. I mean, I ain't even just talking about that one touchdown play where he ran for 93 yards. But that boy is like he got oil on him. I mean, you think he's tackled, and the next thing you know, he done broke away for another 20, 30 yards, man.
Yeah. You remember several weeks ago when we were talking about how Gibbs can go from 0 to 100 just like that? And I believe Troy or Harold or somebody made the comment, Gibbs or Etienne out of Miami.
Yeah.
The real question is Gibbs or Robinson, because that specific 93-yard run where it looked like he could possibly gotten caught, we can't forget that that's 230 plus, and he began to separate even more, 93 plus yards, and it was a dead sprint from the 20 where he took off and that cornerback took off. It was an even takeoff. It wasn't that he got walked down from their 20. I clocked it. He ran 80 yards and
so you sit up there watching the game with your stopwatch, man.
I was stopping. Hey, I was invested because I was shocked. I was like, I know daggone well that the Rams are not going to give this game away, because that first half was terrible by Matthew Stafford. I was like, what is going on? Pick sixes, you can't complete a pass. Bijan running 99-yard plays, bringing back memories of Tony Dorsett way back when. But man, I was like, Atlanta gonna mess around, and no, I forget. Give them 3 quarters. The Rams are going to come back. I just kept saying that. The Rams are going to come back, and they did, and should have won this game, to be honest. But
man, hey, Harold was asking about the tight end Pitts. Pitts had a couple of good games, but he come and go. You never know which Pitts gonna show up to the game. But Bijan, if I had to choose between Bijan and Gibbs, even though I'm Gibbs, I love me some Gibbs. Bijan is a much stronger, harder runner.
Yeah,
Gibbs is that Reggie Bush finesse, speed, make you miss or whatever. But Bijan is that dude that will run through you. Not only is he fast, but he'll run through you, man.
Damn, I'm tired of talking about these Alabama quarterbacks. But who was that Alabama not quarterbacks, but Alabama
running back?
Huh?
Derrick Henry? You talking about Derrick Henry?
No. I'm talking about the Alabama Heisman Trophy running back that was on the Saints for forever.
You talking about don't say it, man. Golly, man. I was just looking at the dude, man. This has hurt my. This is not that I forgot my boy. It ain't about me forgetting it, man. My daggone my PTSD and stuff like
you and me both, man. Come on, Chad, y'all help us out.
Man,
but
I feel
that is the Reggie Bush.
Mark Ingram, man. Mark Ingram.
That is the New Orleans Saints comparison that we have for many years, where Reggie Bush was that lightning and Mark Ingram was that thunder for the run and the gut punch, right? And that is Gibbs compared to Bijan Robinson, in my opinion, at least in 2025. But what this game specifically showed me last night, seeing what the Atlanta Falcons did early in the game, that the talent has been there all year. They've just not found themselves in a situation where they can consistently build off of positive activity within the team, within the flow of the game, and then dealing with injuries, right? Kirk Cousins was even playing okay. And they could possibly be competitive next year. But what this does for the Rams this year shows that they have the grit to fall back, fall down, pick themselves up in the middle of the game, and come back and make a game of any situation. As long as they don't give up,
Yeah.
there's always a shot.
Nah, man, I mean, if the Rams was to play the Falcons again, the outcome would be completely different. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm picking. Hey, if I got to do the picking all over again, I'm picking the Rams again, man. That, like I said, man, did you see that kid? And it was when I went back and looked at it. I know we got to move on. That one hand catch by Puka,
bruh,
man.
bruh.
But if you go back and look at it, the reason why it wasn't a catch, oh boy, did
He
before he hit
pulled
the
it out
ground,
of his hand for a split second. Bruh,
man. I'm like, man, come on.
how,
The be able to catch it with your left hand and get 2 feet down.
man,
Puka's a beast, man.
yeah, that was possibly the catch non-catch of the year, and we've had some good catch non-catches of the year candidates thus far. That was a
You
phenomenal
know
game.
what, Drew? You know what we didn't talk about tonight, and again, I know we got to move on, man. Officiating. You talked about this on Friday too, and how we shouldn't allow some officiating to affect games, but officiating affected quite a few games this weekend.
Yeah,
The Tennessee Texans benefited. I mean, not the Tennessee Tech, but the Houston Texans. I'm thinking about the
yeah,
Titans.
yeah,
I watched a couple of games this weekend. Matter of fact, I want to say it was at least 4 games this weekend, like, roughing the passer call. I'm like, come on, pass interference calls. Well, it ain't even a defender in the place, man. It was some shadow calls this weekend that affected games, bro.
yeah, yeah. Jordan telling us, man, move on. Let the officiating story die.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But no, you're absolutely right. Officiating, unfortunately, is going to continue to be something that rears its ugly head in these big late season games, and just hopefully that your team is the one benefiting from it. Then you'll be able to accept it and just say it was a good call. But for the rest of us, we're gonna be like, there they go, but that BS politics again. But bruh, from one upset to what the faheezy, what the fageezy, what was Mike Tomlin thinking this past weekend going into Cleveland, focused on let's make sure that Myles Garrett don't get that 23rd sack and forget to implement a game plan that is actually going to produce points because they knew the Cleveland Browns had a very good defense. They knew going into this game that the Cleveland Browns is a defensive minded team that is not only a division rival, but they're right here in our backyard. And they are probably the closest rival we have other than the Baltimore Ravens. With all of the hype and focus and improvement from Shadur Sanders and that Cleveland offense, you knew that you were possibly going to have to put up at least a couple of scores. With your number one option being sidelined in DK Metcalf with his first of 2 game suspension, you didn't think Aaron Rodgers would be able to lead that team to create some points. What happened to the Pittsburgh team that went into Detroit last weekend and hung 40?
Again, they had DJ, they had Metcalf last weekend. They didn't. What I tell you is what I see. One, who else? Who is that other dog? I mean, Aaron Rodgers basically relies more so on his tight. And in this game, he definitely was trying to get that ball out quicker because we don't want to give up that other sack. We don't want to say Gary got that sack on us. But who is that person after you take Metcalf out of the equation? Who else have they been going to other than their tight ends this year? They really haven't had in the offense, whether it be in the running game or in the passing game. Uh, and so, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I'm gonna be honest because we've been talking about defenses. Well, one of the top defenses in the league came to play the Steelers this weekend, and I knew with Metcalf not playing, I think Troy said it earlier. It put their team in the bind, like he sabotaged it on purpose with the little swing on the dude because the guy called him by his full name. Now this is where his team benefit. I mean, his team hurt in his absence.
Yeah, I mean, side note that could have not been the first time that those two people have gotten into it. There could be some history between DK and that specific fan. It wasn't just a random encounter.
And DK, if he knew that dude, DK, knowing that the history that they done had, if you're a professional, you should even went down there and had a conversation with him.
Exactly. There are so many things that went wrong for Pittsburgh. They did not want to lose that game. This was a game that they should have won. The Cleveland Browns were 3-12 for a reason, even though they have one of the top 5 defenses in the National Football League with the best defensive line in the National Football League.
The reason because of their stubbornness.
Yeah, no, you're right, man.
That's why they 4-12 because of their stubbornness, and we gonna show y'all we gonna start who we want to start.
Yeah, it did come back to bite them in the long run because what this game proved is that Shadur is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Whether or not he's the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns and going into 2026, still yet to be determined. But what this game proved, with everything on the line for a team that was trying to clinch the division, proved that this young man is a starting quarterback in the National Football League because he was making some pinpoint throws that kept his team's drives alive. That pass, even though it was slightly underthrown, whether it was intentional or unintentional, for the touchdown, was on point, and he controls his composure. He knows when to run. He's learning when to dump it off. He still keeps the ball a little bit too long sometimes, but that improves every single week. I'm looking forward to 2026. Huh?
Just think about how much better he would have been if he would have been playing earlier. I mean, some of the things that we seeing him do now is because of the lack of game time.
Yeah.
But if he would have been up there up front when many of us said, "Hey, what are we doing?" Just think about how much further ahead he could be right now.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns could be competing for that same division if you had started that kid in week 1 like you were supposed to, or week 3 after Flacco had gotten him acclimated, because I believe starting Flacco to begin the year was the right decision, no matter who is the backup quarterback. But looking forward to what Shadur brings to the training camp in 2026 and beyond. Now, for those daggone Steelers, bro, y'all don't open up a can of possibly whoop ass on you this upcoming weekend at home from Derrick Henry, because I am going to assume it is going to be a heavy dose of the run game. Even though you know what we going to do, we telling you what we going to do, the job is, can you stop what we going to do? Is TJ Watt going to play? Don't know. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But the biggest deciding game this upcoming weekend, Griff, heading into the final weekend of the NFL season, is the matchup between the NFC West leading 13-3 Seattle Seahawks, while traveling to Santa Clara to take on the 12-4 San Francisco 49ers, who in reality are the cardiac kids of the NFL in 2025, because they aren't flashy, but they are now one of the best, most efficient offenses in the National Football League. You mentioned at the top of the show how great of a weekend or how great of a game Brock Purdy played. Seattle has been the front runner all year. Them in Los Angeles. San Francisco has been in the background all year because of Purdy's injury, because of Mac Jones coming in and play backup to the starter, to the backup, to the starter, and with the injury to Bosa, the injury to Walker, and to Brandon Ayuk, who hasn't smelled the field, I believe, since 2024.
Does he sign that check?
Got that check, baby. Run me my money. But you have Mike or Kyle Shanahan there as a head coach who has proven throughout his career that during the regular season, where there's a will, he shall find a way. San Francisco is favored in this game, man. What do you believe Sam Darnold has to do? Because this is the Sam Darnold game for me. See, San Francisco is going to focus on doing what they've been doing over the past couple of months. Heavy dose of CMC with Purdy and pinpoint position passes. You mentioned the Seattle defense being smothering, being dominant, holding a quarterback to 40 yards passing. Is what's going to need to happen this weekend, or can Sam Darnold and the Seattle offense be the difference maker? What are you looking for in this game?
I just Sam Donald. I mean, again, I know we're gonna make our picks on Friday, but what I'm looking for Sam Donald is to have a limit his mistakes because his defense is gonna have him in this game. The Seattle Seahawks defense is not the Chicago Bears defense, and as much as I talk about Brock Purdy and how good he played last night, he gonna have some pressure underneath him. I don't know if Trent Williams is gonna be back. One of his favorite blockers. But if it's going to be a long weekend, if Trent Williams is not back, because uh,
Or that hammy?
yeah. So my thing is Darnold just don't need to make mistakes, which we know he can. He didn't have some games where he didn't throw 3-4 interceptions in the game. I just think in this game right here, I think his defense will have him in the game. I can't believe that people got the 49ers, although the 49ers have been under the radar screen. I still think that Seattle should win this game. And I don't, to be honest, Sam Donald don't throw no turnovers from Sam Donald. I don't think this game gonna be close. That's just me.
Right. Okay. Now, I mean, you got a few days to change your mind. I know you're gonna make the official pick on Friday night, but I see that you're leaning towards Seattle, and I understand that philosophy because, again, the San Francisco 49ers have been doing just enough to keep their head above water. Right. If we peel the onion back a little bit and look at their strength of schedule, well, have they been playing quality opponents? Have they been beating playoff worthy opponents? I don't know. I haven't looked at their schedule to see who they've beaten and when they've beaten and how they've beaten those teams and how those teams stacked up against them during the time of the year that they played each other. So I don't know. I understand why you would say that the San Francisco 49ers are a favorite because as good of a coach as McDonald is for the Seattle Seahawks and how much success they've had over the past couple of years, you still have to lean slightly towards Shanahan to give him that edge and that experience. But the difference maker is the defense. It is the defense that the Seattle Seahawks bring to the table, right? What we saw Caleb and them do against that San Francisco defense last weekend, we should be able to see the Seattle Seahawks offense do the same thing. The Chicago Bears defense did not have as much of an impact on Brock and CMC and the run game for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, that is, I truly believe, going to be the focal point of the Seattle Seahawks attack approach on defense. It is going to be, well, Purdy and the passing game is going to have to beat us because CMC is not going to do it. We're going to focus on maintaining his effectiveness in the run game, keeping him inside the box when they utilize him in the passing game, and put the onus on the two quarterbacks, not necessarily the two run games. The two quarterbacks are going to be the difference maker in this game. And as you mentioned, we're going to pick this game on Friday. But I understand why this is a toss-up matchup, even though it's being played in San Francisco. Saturday night, I believe, is it? Yeah, it is a Saturday night game at 8 o'clock kickoff on ESPN and ABC for those of you that want to check it out. And it's going to be one of those possible game of the years, possible game of the year again, just like we had a couple of weeks ago with the Rams and the Seahawks. Now, we talked about the Ravens and the Steelers destined to come down to week 18 where everything is on the line. They took many different routes that we thought they were going to take to get to where we are now, but we are where we are. Both of these two teams have put offenses on the field that have enough to win every weekend, but some way, somehow, find a way not to come through when you really think they should. Griff, I know it's going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry this weekend coming from the Baltimore side of the house, but we'll talk about Baltimore's approach on Friday. Tonight, what do the Steelers need to do with the limited amount of offensive weapons that they have at their disposal, whether it be by injury, whether it be by suspension, whether it be by ineffectiveness, whether it be by untrustworthiness, that Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers and the offensive coordinator can come up with to ensure that we are playing ball keep away to keep Derrick Henry off the field, and we control the clock against our arch rival to win a division on
Look,
Sunday.
man, they gonna have to figure out who gonna be that next man up. Who's gonna be that guy? I mean, I can't just it can't be fair move for Mount for how you said the guy's name. You got Kenneth Gainwell, you got Warren them in the running game, but I think the Steelers is gonna have to create some daggone turnovers in this game.
Mm.
We have seen as much as King Henry has done his thing, and I think if Harbaugh them coming to this game and they not giving the ball to King Henry at least 25 times again, I'll be the first in line, like you said, it's time for him to go. But we also have seen King Henry drop that. This is the most I've seen him cough that ball up in since he's been playing this year too. He done had fumbles at times. So, but you got to think when you run the ball as much as he's running, those chances the opportunities there. So for me, Aaron Rodgers got to get the ball out of his hand. He got to find somebody he can get the ball to and figure out some way to keep the Baltimore Ravens out the field. Don't know if Lamar is playing or not yet. Still, they have not ruled him out. At least last I checked. Fred said, "In Huntley we trust," but again, it just goes to show where Fred Lawyer is at because Lamar was his MVP and all his other stuff, and now it's in Huntley we trust, man.
It's Snoop Huntley. Man, this is going to be one of those knockdown, drag out, historical AFC North black and blue type of games where hopefully there is weather, inclement weather at this game on Sunday night. This is the last game of the regular season on Sunday Night Football
Man.
for the entire league. Man, I just took that in. Griff, that's the last regular season game of the entire regular season, bro.
Yeah, man. That mean that we almost close to the end of this show, bro.
Yup. But what approach does Mike Tomlin take? You're going to have to focus on stopping King Henry. You said that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to create turnovers. And no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Snoop Huntley or it's Lamar Jackson or a combination of both, depending on how effective or nimble Lamar Jackson is if he does play. You're going to have to create multiple turnovers. It is not only just coming at Derrick Henry. It is not only coming at the quarterback. It is not only coming at receivers when they are completing yak. It is punching at every ball at every opportunity, each and every play. Because all it takes is that one punch. And you're going to need several punches. I don't think the Steelers have what it takes on special teams to create a special teams touchdown. This is going to be one of those offensive games where we're going to be able to create just one or two big plays from both sides. And the defense is going to dictate how effective our turnover game can be. And that is going to be the deciding factor. Baltimore should win this game. They have more talent on offense. They have more playmakers on offense, especially if Lamar does return. Baltimore should have the game plan that you are extremely confident in. Baltimore should be confident in saying that we are going to send Aaron Rodgers into possible retirement. We are going to send the Pittsburgh Steelers back into their cold, miserable winters so that we can continue on in the playoffs because we are the better team. But you cannot depend on that because, again, 17 weeks in, I still can't depend on, and I know you can't depend on, Griff, the play calling on the offensive side and the inability of the defense to show up consistently. So we'll see how this game unfolds on Sunday night. This is the most exciting game of the entire season for me to watch because of the implications, not because of how it's going to play out, but because of the implications and the backstory and the backdrop, because one of these two coaches could possibly get fired at the end of this year based on the outcome of this game. Just saying. I've always said it. Y'all might as well just go ahead and get in negotiations and talk about the trading of one coach for the other. Now, my least favorite subject to talk about, the NFC South. Griff, I remember in week 2, you made the joke that the NFC South could possibly send a 8-9 team to the playoffs. That's on the board, man. Tampa Bay done snuck their way into the back door. They could win the division this weekend if they beat the 8-8 Carolina Panthers and my Saints beat the Falcons. What are you looking for in this game that the Buccaneers can defend the big sombrero, and even though they've taken a nosedive the second half of the year, can still save their season and win this division?
This game gonna come down to Baker Mayfield play and being able to get the ball to his game breakers. Evans, I mean, you got Evans back, you got Godwin back, and Jigga is there. The runners being able to run the ball. Can he hold up against that Panthers defense? The reason why the Panthers here right now is because of their defense. They defense has definitely been playing some good football as well as they had a running game. He has to be able to convert on third down and keep Bryce Young off of the field, and have limit his mistakes, man. Because as much as Baker's a gunslinger, he also can make some mistakes in games trying to keep them in there. I think, me personally, even though the scores and look at how they can play it on the back end, I still think that the Buccaneers could win this game.
I understand why you're leaning that way. These two teams played each other, what, 2 weeks ago? And the Carolina Panthers won 23-20 in the last second touchdown or last second field goal or something close to that effect. They're evenly matched. You mentioned Mike Evans coming back. You mentioned all of the usual targets that you would have available to you if you're Baker Mayfield or back with Godwin coming back. I still don't know whether or not the Todd Bowles defense of old is trustworthy, especially in 2025. Going against a Carolina Panthers offense that has a very strong run game. And once that run game gets going, you're not going to shut them down, right? If they have 100 yards within the first 20 minutes of game time, then the Buccaneers defense is going to be in for a long second half. So that's what it comes down to me, whether or not the Carolina Panthers offense and the Carolina Panthers run game can have success against a Tampa Bay defense. Yeah, you're right. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is the better offense of the two teams. They should have much more success. They should be able to put points on the board, but it falls on their defense and whether or not that defense can stop a young Bryce Young. I don't know. I don't think they can. I think the Panthers have what it takes to go into Tampa on Sunday to put a stamp on of approval on their season and say we are the new kings of the NFC South, at least for 2025, and head off into the playoffs with their hopes and dreams. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll make my pick on Friday. The college football playoffs, Griff. The time is really here, right? Down to the Elite Eight. These are the 8 best teams in the country. When this whole thing started, you kind of figured just by looking at 98% of teams or people's brackets that you was going to have the exact same bracket that you see here. Well, 24 hours away, the first game, you have the defending national champions taking on a Miami Hurricane team with a lot of big time talent, a lot of ACC experience, a lot of national exposure, a lot of national experience in the Cotton Bowl in Jerry's world tomorrow night. Can Miami upset Ohio State? That's the question. If so, how does Carson Beck do it? Because it's
I
going to
don't
take
think
Carson
for
Beck.
them to for me, I don't think it's going to be Carson Beck that do it. I think it's going to be the Miami defense and being able to slow down that Ohio State offense. The Miami defense, they have like an NFL style type defense that can get after the quarterback. For me, it's going how is Ohio State offensive line going to be able to hold up to that Miami front? If they can get home, it could be a long day for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Now you're absolutely right, man. And I've seen a lot of commentary as to either how good Ohio State is or whether or not Ohio State is just living off of reputation because they haven't actually won anything in 2025 based off of teams they've played in 2025. Strength of schedule just kind of says what it is. So this game is a toss up. Miami is the proven team for me in this game. Jordan, go on to the next uh, slide there. Miami is the most proven team because of the battle scores that they've accumulated. Now, nobody has confidence in Carson Beck. We all said going into the Texas Tech game that Carson Beck was going to be the deciding factor. Well, it turned out that Carson Beck did contribute to Miami winning that game. They are here because of Carson Beck. He is one of the most experienced college quarterbacks in the 2025 playoff field remaining. I believe that Miami does have what it takes to limit Ohio State's success. I believe that Miami is well aware of how we need to play to beat Ohio State. And I believe that Miami does shock the world. I believe Miami does dethrone the Ohio State Buckeyes and in their 2025 season. Miami is going to take a defensive score, as you mentioned, and they're going to find a way to get that defensive score, whether it's going to be a fumble recovery, run back for a touchdown, or a pick six. But they're going to get that defensive score to create that necessary separation to win this game. Miami wins this game close, mid 20s is the score, in my opinion. Fred
Okay.
said I'm crazy. Okay, we're going to see.
You could be talking about me too, so we'll see. I love Fred.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
Fred said, "Stop it, Drew."
Hey, Carson Beck. Carson Beck. Carson Beck. Be the guy, baby. Be the guy. All right, man. All right, we can move on to the next game, Jordan. The next game, Thursday, starts off the day at high noon at the old K Corral, where you're going to have a good old Western shootout between two high powered offenses that are accustomed to lighting it up, that are accustomed to just going up and down the field. But you also have a Texas Tech defense that is just as good as their offense. Which team do you look for, Griff, to have more of that early success, to create that early separation, if they can create that separation, so that the team that is playing catch up simply runs out of time? Because it's going to come down to one of those who has the last ball type of games for me.
I think Texas Tech, man. I think Texas Tech defense is going to cause Oregon, as good as they are. I think that defense is going to cause Oregon to turn the ball over. I think that defense is going to score at least a score or two, or at least put the offense in good field percentage to be able to do what they got to do. So I think Oregon might be as fast and high powered they are. I think that Texas Tech defense is going to be the difference maker in this game.
So you're going with the Red Raiders to be led
Yes,
by
sir.
the linebacking core. I would have to agree. The same argument that I've made about the Ohio State Buckeyes not playing a quality schedule this past year. I can make that same argument for the Oregon Ducks. I can make a same argument for a lot of other teams that are in the playoffs, but I'm going to focus on this game right here. The Texas Tech Red Raiders just might be the best team in the entire country because they have that offensive efficiency, they have that offensive effectiveness, and they have that defensive tenacity to shut teams down. So they are the best team on the offense and on the defense. And if both of those sides show up tomorrow or on Thursday, they should win this game. But it's still going to come down to one of those types of games where big plays and who has the ball last. And because this is going to be an opportunity for the Oregon Ducks to open up the entire playbook. And we know Coach Lanning is not one to hold any punches as to what is available to us. So look for the oddest of types of plays coming from the Oregon offense, which will create opportunities for those scores that you aren't used to seeing. But I still got the Red Raiders winning a close one because of what you mentioned earlier, Griff. The defense making a big play, creating a turnover, and possibly creating a scoring opportunity for themselves. That one is the second game of the day, or the first game of the day on Thursday. Now, the second game of the day on Thursday, it has a lot of national interest because you have the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers, the number one overall seed Indiana Hoosiers, the Heisman Trophy quarterback leading Indiana Hoosiers, leading their fan base into the Bowl of Roses to take on an SEC powerhouse that has always had a footprint when it comes down to deciding who the national champion is going to be on the football field. Well, it is a different version of the Alabama Crimson Tide that people are historically used to, but it is an evolving Alabama Crimson Tide as well that earned a hard-fought victory against the Oklahoma Sooners last weekend or a couple of weeks ago. Griff, what does your Tide have to do? Because I said it on Friday's show. This is a toss-up game for me, right? I understand the argument that you made about the Indiana Hoosiers not playing the quality of schedule, both on the offensive side and on the defensive side, that you would measure their success against quality teams consistently. Not one game, not two games in the entire year, but consistently. To who have you beaten that is quality worthy, that I can say you can hang your hat on that victory or that string of victories like Alabama did. I remember the month of October and November, Alabama playing 4 top 12 teams consecutively and beating all 4. That's when I thought we were the best team in the country. But, it take a slide. How can y'all recapture that magic?
Hey man, roll Hoosiers. That's what Fred said. I think it's going to come down to Alabama's ability to protect the passer. Teams that's been successful against Alabama has been able to put pressure on Ty Simpson and our offensive line. We already know we ain't been able to run the ball. That's everybody know that. Alabama has not been good running the ball. In order to win this game, they have to make their passing game, their running game. And what I mean is they got to get the ball out of Ty's hand quick. So which means you got to throw screens. You have to take advantage of teams sending the kitchen sink at your passers. Screens. When they coming that hard, the reason why they've been getting the tie is we trying to do plays all the way down the field that you don't have the time to do. So you got to make it simple. Little crosses across the middle, screen plays. That'll open up the pass game. In order for Alabama to win this game, they have to be successful in blocking for the quarterback and giving him time to get the ball out. I ain't even asking them to run no more. I done gave up on asking them to run the ball. The defense got to come out there and play. I have, man. I just gave up on it. The defense has to come out there and play the exact same way they came out in the second half of the Oklahoma game. Don't wait. Put pressure on Mendoza up front. Matia almost took us out because we was playing too soft. In the second half, that defense came out and they put pressure on Mattia. They went at it. They got to do the same thing in this game. It ain't no more games. Each game at this point, you have to treat it like it's the last game, and you got to leave it all out there.
No, you're absolutely right, man. There aren't any more games. This is it. Win or go home, right? We coming. Everything that you want to throw at it, throw at it. The kitchen sink, the clock, everything. How does Alabama win this game? How does Indiana win this game? It's about coaching. It's about coaching. Period. It is about the approach that you take. You say you got to get the ball out of Ty Simpson's hands quickly. It's about the defensive approach that the Indiana Hoosiers are going to take against Ty Simpson and that offense. Are they going to be aggressive and play press defense man to man against those two speedsters who are not dependable, but they are speedsters and they can burn you off the line? If they want to take that approach, that is Alabama's deep strike, quick strike opportunity, possibility. It's all about being able to adapt in real time. Is Coach DeBoer one of those coaches that who has the ability to complete in-game adjustments? We saw that the last game against Oklahoma. So yes, you're right, Griff. There ain't no more games, bro. It's all or nothing. Can that be enough to stop an Alabama-minded Indiana Hoosiers team? And I made mention of that Alabama-minded Indiana Hoosiers team last weekend when I talked about this game and why this game was so hard to pick. They're more Alabama than Alabama is to me in 2020.
Right now, they are. I have to say
You
that.
know, and but you still have that quick strike capability from the Alabama Crimson Tide. And that is the difference maker in this game, right? Indiana showed you they can go pound for pound with the highest scoring offense or the defensive minded defensive team. Man, game is so hard to pick. I'm going to go with the.
Don't go with the Hoosiers, man. I mean, it ain't like the SEC doing this playoff cycle
I know,
anymore.
right? I know.
Tennessee just like, man. I mean, we can,
We
that
getting skull
SEC,
drugged, bro. We getting skull drugged. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers team to win a
and we thank
very
you,
close win.
and we thank you.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
you know, y'all usually do okay when I pick against you. Uh, I would not be surprised if y'all win, but I'm not gonna be pulling for you either.
Roll
So,
Tide,
hey, what Fred say? Roll.
roll Hoosiers. He said roll Hoosiers.
Hey, now to me, the granddaddy of them all on Thursday night. The last game of the quarterfinals, two SEC powerhouses as it pertains to the 2025 season. Both of these two teams come into this game at 12-1. Both of these two teams have lost one game. Georgia lost to Alabama. Ole Miss
Roll
lost
Tide.
to Georgia. So they're evenly matched on the field, in my opinion. Both of them have the ability to be quick strike offenses. Both of them have the ability to be a opportunistic defense where we can create turnovers and turn those turnovers into points. Now, Georgia is the better defense. Georgia has the more smothering defense, especially late in 2025, especially after what they did to Alabama in the SEC championship game. They've separated themselves. They've had a month to rest, recover, recuperate, become better. SEC play a couple of weeks ago for Ole Miss in that game against Tulane. They've had their tune-up game without their head coach. Griff, man, all of the sublining stories to support why Ole Miss can come in and shock the world or why Georgia has to win this game is right there for the taking. But you got to play the game on the field. What does Ole Miss need to do, minus Lane Kiffin, the approach they need to take to be competitive in this game against a Georgia defense that has gotten better since the last time they played in Athens, where the game ended in a 38-35 final score?
See, you just took my answer from me because I was going to say they need to bring Lane back. The problem in this game right here, It comes down to coaching.
Hmm.
I have no confidence
No.
in the coach that Ole Miss got as their head coach right now. Remember, he used to be my defensive coordinator. I know on the other side, over there in Georgia, I have all the trust and confidence in what Kirby gonna do over there. I think as good and talented as a team as Ole Miss is, they don't have the coaching staff on that sideline to help them win this game.
Mm.
You said it. That Georgia defense has improved tremendously since the last time they played each other.
Yeah.
And so I mean, unless Lane is phoning a friend or he's zooming on to the sideline, I just don't think that Ole Miss has a chance in this game.
Not a chance,
Not
bro.
even, not
They are
even,
a 12-1
not
SEC
even a
powerhouse.
chance. Not even, again. Let's go back and look at who Ole Miss is. Almost looking at a replica of the Texas A&M schedule. That's
I
all
don't,
I'm saying.
but I don't know. Lane Kiffin does make a difference, obviously, or he would not be making 13.
He make a huge difference in this
He
game.
made a huge difference.
The lack of Lane not being here makes a huge. I will stand in my I will eat crow tremendously if Ole Miss win this game. I'm
Bro,
telling you right now, I don't see it. Ain't a chance. It ain't a chance.
there are 14 teams in the SEC conference, right, Griff? Or no, I take that back. Since Texas and Oklahoma have joined, there are 16 teams in the Southeastern Conference, ladies and gentlemen. 16 teams. I remember way back when it was just 10, but now there are 16. There are 2 teams in the Southeastern Conference that I refuse to cheer for: the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Ole Miss Rebels. I'm definitely not pulling for them, but to see you and Harold and everybody else just completely lose confidence in their ability to hang points on teams.
Harrah's a Mississippi guy. Harrah from Mississippi.
I know. That's why I'm surprised. And he is a staunch Ole Miss supporter. So to see Harold not having any confidence in their ability to put up points just because Lane Kiffin is not there. Lane Kiffin ain't throwing the ball. Lane Kiffin is not running. Lane Kiffin. Griff, you say you don't like the coach because he did not perform at Alabama, but hey, once upon a time, Ole Miss fired Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron made his rounds, came right back to Baton Rouge, and led the SEC leading Tigers to a national championship. So there's always a second act. This might be the second act for that former defensive coordinator of your team. Ole Miss will show up in the Sugar Bowl and put on a worthy effort.
Who you got?
I got the Georgia Bulldogs by at least 14. No, man. Hey, it was a great season, but no, Georgia is too good. They're too good on offense. They have gotten considerably better.
I just knew you were gonna say Georgia too. With all that lead up, all that build up, that Joker said Georgia.
Go dog. Hey, you see that commercial, man, where this guy is a alumni of Georgia and his supervisor or boss is also alumni. And
The supervisor is a Georgia fan, and he coming up with that and talking about go dogs.
Go dogs. Go dogs, man. They should win this game on Thursday night. Everybody will be surprised if Ole Miss wins, even though they're a 12-1 team. They do have the talent to win the national championship, but like Griff said, the coaching is not there anymore. All right, man. It was a great show. It was a great show.
And you got it under 90 minutes too, bro.
And we got it under 90 minutes. So that gives
you still got to close out.
That time don't count. Hey, I saw in the comments on Friday night show, I believe it was Tom that said, I got some of the longest closeout comments he had ever seen.
Look, bro, the only person that got a longer closeout than you is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle closed on his show was like 30 minutes. But
Man.
look, man, let me be quiet so I can turn it over to you. I just want to say Happy New Year's to everybody because the next time we come on this screen and talk football, it'll be a new year. So y'all be safe out there. Y'all enjoy y'all families, and may 2026 be the best year yet for you and the ones that you love. Drew, I turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. I echo those very same comments and sentiments, especially here in these 50 states of America where people have the opportunity to collectively come together and celebrate the outgoing year and then bringing in the new coming year. You put yourselves into situations where the safety of yourself and those that are surrounded near you are not the top priority. Well, make that a priority in 2025, please. No matter where and how you choose to celebrate the new year, and in whatever fashion that you choose to celebrate the new year, do so with safety in mind. All right. Always keep your head on a swivel. As Griff mentioned, may 2026 not only be your best year in whatever capacity that you are pursuing in your individual life, but may it be a good year for you and your raggedy team, regardless of that team, especially if this is our year in 2026, like every team is going to say. So the next time we come onto the screen on Tuesday or Friday night, shall be 2026. Hopefully, you all have a great next couple of days. If your team is playing football in whatever way over the next couple of days in the college football playoffs, good luck to your team. And we shall be here on Friday night to talk about the college football quarterfinal recap and the biggest NFL weekend of the season because it is the last weekend of the regular season and a precursor into the 2025 playoffs. So, y'all have a joyful and safe next few days. We shall see y'all here on Friday night. Best of luck to your teams. Y'all stay safe, stay blessed, bring in 2026 in a positive way and positive vibes, and we'll see y'all right around the corner in 2026. Y'all be breezy.
Hey, look, guys, this game is all about what we do. It's all about us, just like it's been all year long. All right, so you've got to focus and not get the external factors have any factor on how you focus in this game. You want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, which is discipline to execute and do your job, play with relentless effort and toughness for 60 minutes in the game, no matter what the circumstance in the game is, and an intensity that they can't match. Now, you guys talk about respect all the time. Kirby says we ain't what we used to be. Well, by God, I want to prove something different. I don't want to see a smile on that face after the game. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game. It's our shot. And there's a guy who's trying to take it from us. So that makes this shit personal. So let's don't be denied what we want. Let's go. Relentless effort for 60 minutes. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate. Hey,